What do they want with your eyes?
He's going to third world countries to basically get people to scan their shit into eyeballs to create a world passport, and they'll incentivize you to do it.
What if you kill someone and steal their
that's
eyeballs?
Why he's starting with the poor countries.
Easy.
Yeah, that you're starting with, yeah.
It's like that movie Face Off. All they did was like switch faces. It's like not hard.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Money.
This Week in Money.
We've got a special guest with us today, the one and only Katy Perry.
I love your music, California Girls. The lyrics so deep. How did you do that?
I just like dug really deep in my soul.
In your soul.
Yeah, and then I called up Snoop Dogg, and the next thing you know, I was rich. So,
amazing.
But actually, I'm Katy, and I work at Public.com, which is the retail investing app. So obviously, I love to talk about money, and thanks, guys, for having me.
We love talking about money here on This Week in Money. For our first story, who is seeing Barbenheimer? A new map shows where Barbie or Oppenheimer is currently trending in the United States. The two films combined made over $311 million at the box office, making it the fourth best in industry history. What we have here is a map showing all of the search trend volume by state, seeing that our friends over in... Is that Missouri?
I like how Mississippi is just over-indexed to Barbie. It's like I'm sure they don't even know Oppenheimer is real. Then New Mexico, that's over-indexed to Oppenheimer because, that's where stuff happened. But what I like is the neutral states, like the states like Iowa. Maybe they just don't have access to the internet, access to movies. That could be, the
Swing
real
states.
issue there.
Swing states.
The entire Midwest really is just sitting this one out.
They just got email recently.
Yeah. But what I think is interesting about this chart is it's the search interest. So it's like these are where people are probably pissed off. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting.
Mississippi just hates Barbie.
They're like,
how could you hate
what is Barbie? What is happening?
Yeah,
all
totally.
That, yeah.
Like,
what is it doing to our kids? What are these liberals
Oh
about to do next?
Yeah.
So silly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you see, like Ben Shapiro came out and had to have a hot take on it.
Oh, he's like my
dude,
producers dragged me. It's like, dude, you're a grown man allegedly, but
The
like,
best thing I
drag me
saw
here.
on that was like he tossed a Barbie like 5 feet into a trash bin, but like missed, and then they edited it going.
It took all of the little man's strength to just toss an action
And the worst
figure.
edit ever. So.
The culture wars.
So which film is more successful? Barbie beat Oppenheimer at the box office with a record $150 million debut. However, the two films are creating new competition. Warner Brothers versus Comcast. Warner Brothers, the company behind Barbie, and Comcast, the company behind Oppenheimer, are now competing to promote their movies to retail shareholders. They want to make sure that these investors know which company deserves the credit for the successful films. Katy brought some data with that shows some interesting search trends. Can you take us through what we're looking at?
Absolutely. Yeah, what we're looking at here is stock page views on Public of the two companies that are production or studios behind these films. What's really interesting is I think a lot of these studios are sort of struggling with making sure people know that their content's there. So Paramount wants people to know Top Gun's theirs. And that's more important for retail investors because they're actually consuming this stuff as consumers. And so we did see more traffic going towards Warner Brothers, towards Barbie. But you can see there's probably a little discrepancy and a little kind of confusion around who's doing what. And so what we've heard from IR teams in this space is that that's a big focus of theirs on the retail side to make sure that not only do they know the financial updates and everything, but they also know whose content this stuff is coming from.
You got to know who's responsible for what. And so, Katy, there's another stock that has also been experiencing the Barbie effect. Tell us about the Barbie effect and who's experiencing it.
Sure. I would say the Barbie effect generally leads women to a lifelong episode of trauma. But in terms of the stock market, the Barbie effect, we really were looking at Mattel here. And to be honest, I didn't know Mattel was publicly traded before like this week. We saw insane traffic to the Mattel stock page leading into the premiere date. Huge increases in trading volume. I think it was 60x month over month.
Wow.
And I think the takeaway here is a lot of retail investors are like experiencing things in their everyday lives, and the next step for them is often, can I invest in this? And we saw that also early in the pandemic when like Crocs all of a sudden was like cool. And
All of a sudden, it's always been cool to me, okay?
I don't.
Tell us how you
about
really
Crocs.
feel.
I don't
Tell
know
us how
about
you really
Crocs.
feel about Crocs.
I don't know about Crocs. The widget things scare me.
It's to express personality.
I know, pieces of flair. But what we saw there was like when those things were trending, people were like, wait a minute, I can invest in Crocs. And so it's just an interesting dynamic where things happen in culture, and now people are seeing as investing as like part of their everyday lives and flocking to those sorts of things.
And you're seeing these cultural moments drive it, like we did with Bud Light.
Yes.
But speak to us a little bit about Public. They have a version of kind of trend analytics that you can see this going on, right? So what did we see with Mattel?
Yeah, so with Mattel, we obviously saw uptick in trading volume, mostly buys, obviously. And again, it's that moment where people are connecting something they're seeing have momentum in their lives, and they're going to invest. Bud Light, we actually saw the same. I mean, the news around them was slightly more mixed. It wasn't all positive, but it led to increased page views of Bud in our platform and also increased trading activity. And so, yeah, just being in the cultural lens, whether it's positive or negative, seems to drive interest from retail investors.
And this data here shows from another data provider that retail interest in Mattel has been skyrocketing over the last few weeks. And I think your sentiment of not knowing that Mattel was publicly traded, it seems like that is accurate from retail, because they discovered the stock and started buying it up. So we'll see what the future holds for Barbie, Mattel, Oppenheimer, Warner Brothers.
A lot of other stocks being impacted by this, though, one of which is AMC, that has been getting the Barbie boost. Shares on Friday almost doubled in after-hours trading from about $4.40 to a little above $8. Now, this news is also coupled with the fact that a Delaware judge recently blocked a $129 million settlement between AMC and its common shareholders. The rejected settlement kept AMC from converting their APE shares into common stock, which would dilute the common shareholders. And so that leads the common shares to go up, because theoretically the APEs and the common shares should trade at par. Not at all what we've seen happening. Now AMC has filed a revised deal with the court, citing its urgent need to raise capital, which gives you a little bit of concern.
Dude, AMC's off the charts. They don't care. They issued
They're having fun with it,
the
though.
ape stock. Now they're trying to bring it back. They're just rallying up all the online kids.
I do think retail investors are starting to see like the drama in like the corporate governance,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're like, wait, this is kind of better than like
That's where
Bravo,
all the fun is.
like
Exactly.
the proxy battles, and I think that's cool.
Yeah, totally. I love the action. I love AMC giving the hat tip to shareholders. They get free popcorn if they're a shareholder. So excited to see more companies lean into this. But AMC is definitely the leader in this, and the drama never ceases to exist over on that ticker.
They also hit pre-COVID highs this past weekend on turnout for Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Elon Musk rebrands Twitter to X. Elon made the official announcement this past Monday. On the same day, the domain x.com was already directing users to Twitter's homepage. But this isn't the first time that Elon tried to rebrand. Musk previously wanted X to be the name of an online banking company he was working on called PayPal. However, this got him booted out of the company and held onto the domain name, was bought and sold again, and now it seems to be the future of Twitter. How do we feel about Twitter moving over to X?
Couldn't care less, honestly. I didn't even notice on my app. I just see it on the feed, people talking about it. Doesn't affect my life. Don't care. Move on. I'm still tweeting from the thing, but I noticed when you're on the browser, if you have 3 tabs up, it just says XXX. So it looks like you're looking at some adult content. I'm not sure how that's going to do for some marriages, but people are like, oh, it's affecting the market cap, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. It's fine.
I too file it under things that do not impact my life. I can't quit Twitter. You know, just when I think I'm out, I'm back in. I don't really, I mean, from like a marketing standpoint, I think there's been a lot of commentary around like this is terrible. You're losing the brand cachet of Twitter. And I think that's literally the point. He does not want to be known as a social media platform anymore. He wants to be known as this new thing. And that's literally what he's trying to do. And so if that's what he's trying to do, then they're accomplishing that. I don't know about the name X. It seems very hard to track earned media mentions, but maybe that's also the point. So
Well, lack of a PR team over there not keeping track of it. I saw like today there was a story that said that they lost $5 to $20 billion in brand value. It was really interesting to see where that data came from, because they had Marlboro working its way up the list. which
Pulled
I'm
it
just
out
like,
of someone's
Jesus
ass.
Christ.
Like, yes, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This is
Wait,
how
Marvel
valuation
brand
works.
values going
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like from what I've observed, like I think like old school smoking is back.
Yes, everyone is
Right?
on the side of big
I'm not
tobacco
advocating.
now.
It's not investment advice or like health advice, but from what I see, like everyone's smoking.
I'm not on the side of the UN, of NATO, of anything except for big tobacco and Zyn. Would you scan your eye into a silver orb to prove you're not a robot? That is exactly what OpenAI founder Sam Altman wants you to do thanks to his latest project, WorldCoin. The main selling point for Altman's project is World ID, which is a digital passport to prove that the holder is a real human, not a fake human. To get a World ID, you have to sign up to do an in-person iris scan using WorldCoin's orb. It's a silver ball the size of a bowling ball to verify you're a real person. The project already has 2 million users in its beta period. What do we think about WorldCoin and the orb?
This is wacky. I mean, look, they're trying to like scan a bunch of people's eyes to.
Doesn't sound like a data gathering.
Sounds like 2 million marks, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who are those
doing
people?
it just to get the money that they get from scanning their eyeballs. But this sounds a little bit also like what Europe's trying to do with requiring a visa now. Next year, you're going to have to fill out an online form and pay $8 to get into Europe to prove help them with.
Do you have to prove you're real first for that, or
First
can you
look into the orb.
Yeah,
you
and
gotta-
then you can go to Europe.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't know.
Makes sense.
This orb is so wacky, and like tying it to crypto too. It's just like
Doesn't seem
what
like
are
a
we
scam
doing?
at all.
Yeah,
No,
come on.
legit.
And of course they have like a token attached to this whole thing too, and it's like, oh my god, this is not going to end well. But hey, Sam Altman, keep doing what you're
Not really
do.
sure who Sam Altman is, to be honest with you.
Is he a real person?
Let's have he better be enrolled in this beta
Yeah.
stage.
I think
he
I
better
saw
be
him
one of
on
the 2 million
C-SPAN.
people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think that's
I'm a big caller into C-SPAN.
Yeah?
I love what they do. You know,
How hard is it to get through?
easy.
Really?
Yeah, I
Like,
used to
it kinda
prank
makes
phone call
sense.
him in high school. It's great.
Oh wait, we gotta find that. We gotta get you on C-SPAN one of these days.
I'll
That'd be
just
a
prank.
big one.
We can prank phone call after this.
And
Let's do
Love it.
Are people still buying Yeezys? Adidas received orders worth more than $565 million for over 4 million pairs of unsold Yeezy shoes. The orders for the first batch would potentially save the German sportswear company from having to take back a big write-down on its remaining stock. What's going on with the Yeezys?
Look, people are still wearing them. I see in the streets, everyone's rocking them. I actually felt, safe enough to wear my pair of Yeezys recently because I was going to Brooklyn Mirage and I thought, I'm going to get shit on them. Might as well wear these, and I can still look kind of cool, like I know what's going on. But look, they say they're going to donate about $8.5 million that they have earmarked to 4 U.S.-based charities and 1 Chinese-based charity, which makes me question because the whole controversy was based off of Kanye's anti-Semitic remarks and where in China is this money going to, but that might be beyond the point.
Were you ever a Weezy wearer?
Weezy, wearing Weezys, baby.
Yeezy, Lil Wayne.
Weezys, the fake Yeezys.
Yeah, my professional and personal opinion is that they're ugly.
Hates Weezys, hates Crocs.
Hates Weezys, hates Crocs, Yeezys.
What are you wearing?
really
What do you
like,
got? What's your brand?
Yeah, what are you
What's your
rocking?
These
flavor?
are DSW.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
I'm
That's
a
it.
budget
Payless.
gal,
There you go,
Payless.
DSW.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been really getting into My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy again, though.
Ooh.
So I feel like every cancellation kind of has an expiration where you're kind of like.
Is that a nickname for
I-
Balenciaga or what? What is it? Is that a brand? My Beautiful Dark.
That's a Kanye West album.
Oh, okay.
Crying
Mark
now.
is not cultured enough on the
Come
on,
on the
Mark.
Kanye,
Come on, Mark.
but we'll get there.
I don't know about that one. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll see the Yeezys making its way back out onto shoes.
To
and
DSW.
feet of people everywhere. Maybe we'll see them in Payless.
Everywhere.
Retail investors are shifting their strategies. We're seeing mixed behavior with retail investors favoring trending strategies as tried and true ones. Dividend stocks and AI are amongst the top cited categories. Amid ESG branding backlash, 33% of investors said that renewable energy positions were among their priorities heading into the second half of the year. This had a similar response rate to big tech with 30%. This is information coming over from Public. What's going on? Where are
This was an
investors?
interesting survey because when you look at kind of how people are evolving over time, you obviously had the meme movement and the single stock strategy was really popular and people were gravitating towards what was buzzy. And then, the volatility hit and people were like, oh my God, a lot of hard lessons, but good lessons learned. And so what you're seeing now is people are still reacting to moments in culture, and obviously there's still like momentum stocks that are very high interest in different pockets of the market, like AI, that are high interest, but also you're seeing a lot of dividend investing. We have T-bills on our platform, and the T-bills are popping off. So not investment advice, but it's interesting to see, YOLO weed stock trending next to dividend investing. And I think it's just showing that there's a lot of layers to retail investors.
Definitely.
Don't judge a book by the cover.
Hey, nothing wrong with investing
More
in the U.S. government.
sophisticated than people want to give them credit for.
There you go. Hey, and investing in the U.S. government is not a bad strategy. What is it, like 5% risk-free rate?
It's over 5.
A little over 5 now?
Probably
All right.
changing right now.
There you go. Changing live. But so holding on to the T-bills, but also YOLOing into the AI stocks.
One thing I couldn't have expected, though, is a backlash against ESG. When you have Philip Morris rated higher than Tesla, I just think it's something that really makes sense and isn't virtue signaling at all.
This ESG thing is interesting because it's like there's like a branding thing that because what we noticed is people are still like going into like renewables and like ESG type things, but with the label on it, there's this whole thing now. So it's like everything else. The world's gone mad. And
MSCI's ESG data is just like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. You look at that and that was the whole like Philip Morris above Tesla thing. And it's just like, what are we doing? But, ESG needs a rebrand.
China's economy is spiraling. On Monday, China announced that its economy grew 6.3% in the second quarter, missing expectations by a wide margin. So, will China's Communist Party leadership fall back on nationalism and end up starting a war? What do we see as happening to China, Brian?
Oh, man. I mean, look, every data point out of China, I just can't, I think it's just fake. Their currency is manipulated. Wherever these numbers are coming from is probably coming from China too. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say, but I don't know. It doesn't look like they're doing too well over there.
Well, they have this system that it's called the Hoku system or something like that, but it makes it so that all the rural workers who come into the city, they can't get residency in the city, so they're not eligible for social services. So it's making it so there's this cramp on the availability of workers. It's making it so people don't have access to basic healthcare services, blah, 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 which puts a crimp on the actual consumer spending. So there's going to be lower tax bases for the Communist Party to be able to feed its people. Could be the end of China, but that's just going to lead them to be more volatile and create more trouble globally.
the end of China is a bold prediction.
It's the end of the economy as they previously have had it with this free growth and
What's your
stimulus.
timeline on China going down over here?
I think we have World War III in the next 7 to 10 years at the
All
latest.
right. Wow, Mark putting a prediction out there.
That's why we need closer ties to India. We got to develop ties with India, and then we have to unite on the Western Front with that. Get our friends in South America, Mexico. and
Mark's
just
figured this all out.
Just make sure that if they think they can start some shit, we're there to answer.
Right.
Did this woman fake winning the $1 billion Powerball jackpot? A woman was seen darting into the downtown Los Angeles convenience store after last week's winning $1 billion Powerball ticket. Apparently, she saw there was a winner. She saw a camera. She took the opportunity. Wild behavior, I think. I mean, if I had $1 million, you would simply not know I existed. And here she wants to be known as the person who's sitting on a bill. So what do you guys...
This is something Mark would do. It's just like, oh, a TV camera? Let me go fake
Yeah,
something to
I
go
think
get
this
on
is
news.
hilarious. She
Yeah.
just saw a camera and was like, fuck it, I'm going to act like I won. Wanted to be on TV, pops back in her BMW after, no one hears from her. It's hilarious. I love it. It's just, that's
Trolling the
great
news.
local news. That's exactly what we need.
Trolling
So
the
we don't
news.
actually know who won, though.
No, we don't. I don't think so.
I think the whole
Did you
lottery's a
secretly
scam,
win?
though.
Yeah.
That it's taking from people who should have their money taken the least, poor people who are disproportionately affected and participate in the lottery. Then the massive part goes to the government. It's literally a redistribution of wealth from poor people to the government.
This is true. The lottery is a tax
It's a
on poor
scam.
people. Yeah, it is unfortunate, but hey, welcome to the U.S.
But at least we had one winner who got on TV for it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
more power to her.
Go buy your Powerball tickets. And that is all for This Week in Money. Thank you to our guest, Katie, for joining us.
One and only Katie. Thank you so much.
We will see you again next week, and thank you for subscribing to the Bullish Studio YouTube page, and please follow us on your podcast apps, and we will see you again next week for This Week
Next week
in
in
Money.
Money. I've lived here for 5-6 years, and I've never been to Staten Island.
How is the?
I don't
You've never
know.
rode the ferry?
No.
You never felt the wind in your
No.
face? Have you?
I've ridden.
I still use Google Maps to get around.
No,